Welcome to the Therapist Burnout Podcast, episode 108. Hey, therapist, welcome to the program. Today, I'm talking with you about this question. Do other therapists gaslight us about burnout? Because I think they do. I wanted to bring up I'm trying not to put people on Front Street on my podcast. So I'm going to bring up a post that I responded to on some social network that I will not name. And I will not name the person that I talked about because, yeah, I just don't think that's a good move to do. I'm going to bring it up and I'll ad lib it a little bit just to keep this person's anonymity. We'll do that. So the title of this post was Burnout is Not a Given. So I'm even like pausing on that one. And they're kind of saying that I'm ad-libbing their post, so I'm not going to do word for word. But the biggest lie that they think therapists are told is that burnout is just part of the job and it's not normal to be emotionally depleted every week. They go on to say it's not normal to like dread your caseload, be tracked by your schedule. And many people think they can solve burnout for like a weekend off when they need a more sustainable business model. So to get out of burnout, you need a different business model. So we cannot increase our income by endlessly adding more sessions. And we should look at our business that supports our nervous system, family, creativity, your future, stuff like that. So parts of it I totally agree with. We should not accept burnout as a given in our life. We should not accept that this is the way we have to live. However, I think for many therapists, by telling us for some reason, if you've burnt out, it's kind of a you problem. I think that's the languaging that we get. Like, why do we just believe that burnout is inevitable in our field? We need to find different ways to work. I agree with all of that. I think we shouldn't accept burnout, but many of us arrive to burnout. And the research is pretty clear on this, is that therapists a lot of times arrive to burnout after they are burnt. Not burned out, not burning out, not like I'm kind of crispy. No, like I came to burnout in total surrender with severe mental health symptoms. I came to it needing burnout recovery, and many of us are there. So if you're probably listening to this podcast, I mean, maybe you're getting crispy, maybe some of that is happening, but many people come to burnout burnt by the work itself. And so I responded to this post and my comment back was, I think that some of us will face burnout, compassion fatigue, or vicarious traumatization, that they need recovery despite their business model due to trauma exposure. As someone who left the work due to vicarious trauma, which I've talked about so much on this podcast, and different bouts of vicarious trauma, whose life work has been in burnout recovery, essentially, looking back, some of us are burnt by it. I want to normalize that it's okay if you need help. Full stop. It's okay if you need help. Sometimes continuing in whatever business model you're in, someone else's business model, your own business model. I closed my practice because I didn't want to burn out. I didn't want burnout to be my life either. So that's why I closed my practice. And I'm grateful, carrying on. Today, I'm grateful I did, and now work very part-time as a therapist again. However, I'm not sure if I could go back to full-time therapy work. I don't know if I'll add more clients beyond my 2 clients that I have. And I share today my business model is part-time therapy, consultation, and doing evaluation work as a psychologist. I had to burn it down to find my path to something more sustainable. It wasn't a beautiful package that I found that worked for me. I tried a lot of things and changed my business model in private practice. I would agree that therapists deserve a life that isn't full of dread, depletion, and regret. Thus, this podcast. I do believe you can find that. I am glad to be on the other side, but man, it was hard being in the messy middle. Burnout shouldn't be part of the job times 100, times 1,000, times 1 million. It should not be part of your job. But yet we are socialized in this field to accept that reality. We see people burnt out, giving more than they can give time and time again. And so it's modeled to us that this is normal. Many of us are also in systems that also devalue our work. My message was, it's not alone if you feel this way. And they did respond. So they responded and said like, yes, I've been there too. And that's not my intention. However, what I do have issue with is people marketing like, I'm going to sell you my system to charge full free fee, or I'm going to market you. Oh my gosh, guys, you do not know how many companies that I get that pitch me, that tell me like, AI is going to save therapists from doing their notes. It's going to buy back their time and it will help their burnout. And I'm like, no, we're not doing that here. That's not what I do here. I don't respond to those emails for AI companies that want to pitch the podcast. I'm getting lots of them. Maybe they know that we're I wouldn't say we're a snobby group, but we are suspicious. Therapists are very suspicious. So we're a suspicious bunch. And yeah, you can't get it. That's not happening here. So anyway, so if companies are marketing or individuals are marketing, like this is kind of your solution, your escape hatch, as I've talked many times, of getting out of burnout, then that is likely not going to work. So I don't think that's going to be a solution for your burnout. And I think it could give you a stopgap. I think it could be part of a longer term solution. But I think many times people benefit financially from therapists buying coaching programs, consultation. Summer is great. And I did a lot of consultation that really worked. I'm not saying all coaching or consultation is bad for therapists. No, I think there's nuance there. And I think we need to be mindful of how we're marketed to and be discerning of the things that we buy. A good segue into the closing of my group. So I ran my Leaving the Chair group, which is for therapists who are leaving the chair of overwhelm, all the things. It's kind of the theme of my newsletter as well, which sign up for that. And so I started that with this wonderful group of people in February, and it just ended at the time of this recording in May of 2026. And it was my first time running it. It's been kind of in my head of what do I want to offer therapists in the burnout space? Because I think a lot of people, what I see, I guess, sold is like, let's cure your nervous system in a weekend. Let's figure it out in this intensive. And I feel like I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have this program where we really like look at our nervous systems. We untether from all of the things we're doing. So my first section was on pruning and on really cutting back the things that aren't working in your life. And then looking at what do I need? Like, who am I? Like, who am I now that I've told myself I can't do one-to-one therapy or as much of it? Maybe I want to like really cut down on my therapy and I'm burnt. I am burnt and I cannot come anymore. Right. That's what a lot of you write into me. And I think those short-term stopgap solutions, I think they're a stopgap solution. I did many of them to buy myself a little nervous system money, like little time, nervous system time. What am I saying? I think. And it helps in the short term. But I really think at the core of what a therapist needs to do is figure out who am I now and what do I value and what's important in my life. And part of that work is really looking at your values. And so I had the therapist I was working with in this group go through Susie Welch's values work. So she created the values bridge, which I found on Kate Donovan's podcast. She was on there and she has her own podcast where she talks about the values bridge. And I was shocked to know that my life, I'm happy with having a smaller life, that maybe it's not within my values to be marketing and selling and like launching things, having all this energy, at least at this life stage. Maybe that will be different when, I don't know, things change in my life. I'm in a different life stage. And my family life, my partnership with my partner is probably one of the most important things to me. And hashtag that I talk about living your damn life. So that's doing things like playing tennis and gardening. Those are high values for me. My dog. If dogs were a value in life, I think I would rank very high in dog. Like that would be one of my values. But it was illuminating to know that when I ranked it, my life, I'm okay with my life being smaller and not bigger because I think I'd fallen into the trap of you go to school, you graduate, you get the license, and then you're just looking for the next rung. Okay, so the next rung, if you have a practice, well, let's maybe have a group practice or have other people in my practice or run a consultation group or for me doing a podcast or doing some other thing. I think the tendency is us forward to the constant build, especially for high achieving people that have gotten a degree in social work, counseling, or have gone all the way to be a doctoral level psychologist like I have. we are high achievers. And so we are looking for that next thing when, like, well, the arrival fallacy, I talk about that a lot. The arrival fallacy is that once we arrive somewhere, we will feel fulfilled, we'll feel satisfied, and it just never comes. And as I am like squarely in midlife now, I know that half of my life has passed and maybe less than half of it is ahead of me. And I'm someone who has had existential anxiety for my whole life. I'm like, we need to get it done now. We need to do something now. And I think it's the first time in my life where I'm comfortable with being where I am. And that is wild to me that I have never really been like, maybe in my 20s, like when I was, raving and like living my damn life. I don't know. Maybe that was that point in my life. But otherwise, I think this is the first time where I'm like, no, it's okay to be here. Yeah, like not everything is perfect. Not everything is perfect in my life, and it won't be. I think I'm just dealing more with life on life's terms. And I borrow that from the AA program, living life on life's terms. Okay, I chose to get a degree in psychology. That means that I can work these type of jobs unless I recreate the wheel. Well, I have two kids who are in middle school and elementary school. I don't have recreate the wheel kind of time in my life to maybe do more school or look at other career paths. I just don't. I just don't have that available to me. And so when I reckon with that, I think about what can I do with that? What can I do with the life that I have? And how can I make it something that is sustainable for me now? And that's led me to think about through the process of this group, I've really found Oliver Berkman's work. I mean, that has been huge for me to find that. And soon, at the time of this recording, it's May. So in late June, I am taking a sabbatical for summer. So I work for a school, we have summers off. And I've never really taken that amount of time off. And so I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm figuring out how can that be a time off where I'm not figuring anything out? Like I'm not taking that break to figure something out. Gonna do a whole episode on sabbaticals to talk more about that. A sabbatical is not a time to figure life out. It's a time to rest and to cease work. But we totally messed that up in modern life. We're like, we're going to go on a sabbatical and do like a journey quest and maybe I'll take a vow of silence and like, no, we need to rest. We need to stop doing things. We need to not do all of that. So I think some of my reflections on this group were that I very much got so much out of this group in the process of doing that. And so having the last session and reflecting on the change that has come in me, something that's kind of connected. Martha Beck was talking on her podcast, which I can't remember the name of. And her co-host was talking about burnout and was talking about what happens when you're really overwhelmed, you're really depleted. That's one thing. I've done that. I've gotten to the point where I just can't anymore, but this is something else. So I got to the point somewhere in the winter where there is this little creature at the end of myself that says, I don't want to. I don't want to. I just don't want to overwork. I don't want to do things that I don't want to do. I want to do as much work as I need to do. And I do a good job and I'm thorough and I still overthink it. Yes, all of that is true. And I still don't want to. I still don't want to. And I don't know, maybe other authors have talked about this experience of the I don't wannas. I think of like my teenage self when I just don't want to do work and I just want to play. And I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that I want to play, that I want to create, that I want to do other things. And part of my work with therapists is to think about the change that needs to happen in their whole life. How do they become a whole person again? How do they find rest again? How do they find play again? How do they find what's important to them now? And so changes I'd really been focused on, I would say, in the initial phases of this podcast. How do I help therapists make career changes? What can they do? And I've done episodes on that, like other things you can do that can be helpful, but also how can you make the changes in your whole life? They're going to help you feel like it's a life worth living, that you want to get up every morning, that you're looking forward to something, that you have activities to plan. And so I saw that journey with two people where work was part of it. Yes, the work of being a therapist was part of it. We made changes to that side of things for them. They did. I helped them. I facilitated the group where they made these changes. Just had some tools, little suggestions, things in there. And I really encouraged them to think about their whole life like a hobby. Do you know what a hobby is, by the way? I looked at a definition. It's something that doesn't make you money. Hobby doesn't make any money. I have confused that in my life. So, tennis is a hobby. I stopped teaching fitness classes during the course of this group, and that was really good. And like a lot of body image stuff came up for me. Like, am I going to gain weight? Am I going to, which is stuff that's just ongoing. You know, how women are socialized to be a certain aesthetic look. All of that came up because I don't want to. I don't want to like spend 2 hours and teach a class where I'm not really enjoying it, and it's not my hobby. It was like a job. I make like $25 an hour with that. And that's good money. That's great if that's your career, but it's not something I want to do. It's not something I do for my job. And so I help people think about that. Like, how can we actually make your life more enjoyable? Let's dig into that. Dig in because that's where actually we find the play, the creativity. That's where change comes from. That's where my change came from. Like being with my dog, being in my garden, playing tennis, being with my tennis friends, being with my family, really enjoying myself with my family on vacation, being present, those types of things. And being totally present isn't the goal because you're human, by the way. So it's not like I just need to be more present. It's not possibly totally present, but to be more present in your life, show up more for your life. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about like what I've learned from that group. And I don't know what the future of that group is. I feel like I want to run it again just because it was so good. I don't have a timetable on that. Maybe late fall, maybe winter. I still have that practice closure course that I developed. Not sure where that's going either. And so I'm going to take some time and figure that out in the fall when I come back from my rest, where I'm resting and playing and living my life because that's what most of us need. We need rest, we need play, we need connection. All of that is so important. So I will leave you with that. The newsletter is still going on. I'm putting together some things for maybe July for you guys, and then we'll think about some archival episodes. I might see if my friend can give me the audio from one of his podcasts I was on. That would be great. And load up the podcast player for you so you have a little bit of me when I'm resting. And yeah, so sign up for the newsletter and you'll be the first for when things do happen. If you want to hear about this group or hear about the things that I do want to offer in the future. Okay. Have a good one.